What if I told you that you could be happy by simply identifying those things which are most important to you and seeing whether or not they're deliberate or accidental? Hey everyone, my name is Richard. In today's video we're going to be talking about how to discover your values so that you can begin to live your life with the intentionality that you desire. Let's go. All of us have values and all of us live out our values. We want to live a life that's fulfilling and meaningful and brings us joy. And one of the easiest ways we can live with that level of intentionality is to identify the values that we have. Our values are those things that are most important to us, those things that underpin everything we do. All of our decision making, all of our behaviors, all of our habits, all of those emerge from our values. Everything we do is driven by the values that we have. Some of us live out values that are deliberate and intentional. And by doing that, those values help to begin to create the life that we desire to lead. By never defining our values, we end up living out accidental values. Those are values that have just been pushed onto us by what we consume, maybe through the media or even by the people that we surround ourselves with. No matter what you do, it's driven by values. Values that may not ring true for us or help us move towards the life that we really want to live. Are the values that you're living really the values that you want to? For us to live out the happiest lives we can, we need to discover the core values that define us and then assess whether or not these values will help move us to the life that we want to live. How deliberate are you in living out your values? There are 3 steps for us to take to help us begin to discover what our values are. Step 1, capture. We need to start to capture what we're doing. We need to begin to record a reflection of our day. Do this daily for 5 minutes. This could be done through writing things down or making a short video at the end of a day or a voice memo, but just a way for us to begin to write down things that made us feel happy, things that made us feel sad, things that made us feel energetic or tired. Just a 5-minute exercise every day will help us to begin to capture some of what's gone on over the course of the day. And as we capture what's happened over the course of a day, we start to build up a log of different values that we have. Step 2, clarify. Clarify is where we sit down and we look over those things that have captured. Do this weekly for 15 minutes. We highlight any emotions that really spring out at us, and then we begin to ask what the underlying principle is that caused that emotion to emerge. And I use this principle called the 5 whys, which is really every time I answer the question why, I ask another why. And by doing that, I normally find that by the 4th or 5th why, I'm really beginning to discover the principle that underlines why I feel the way I feel. Sometimes the values you start to see, the underlying principles you identify will excite you, and at other times they're going to make you go, these aren't values that I would want to see in my life. Normally the values we have that we don't like are because we haven't been deliberate enough in constructing our values. Step 3, consider. Considering is where you overlook all of these underlying principles that are emerging and you start grouping them together. Do this monthly for 30 minutes. You'll begin to see patterns starting to emerge over a period of time, a few months, and you'll start to begin to notice the same commonalities emerging. These same commonalities really are your core values, those things that are embedded deep within you that are driving your behavior. By understanding our values, we'll start to be able to bring clarity to our feelings, understand some of our behaviors, and also it will help us to make better decisions so that we can begin to live the life that we want. All of what we do is driven by our values. To live a life with intentionality, we have to begin to clearly define our values. If we don't define our values, someone else will. I've found that the more deliberate I've become in defining my values, the more deliberate I am in being able to understand why I'm acting the way I'm acting, feeling the way I feel, and whether or not my life is being lived with an intentionality so that I can be happy and live the life that I desire. Capture, clarify, consider. These 3 small habits can have a massive impact in you beginning to live a life that fulfills you and brings you happiness.